What is SEO? For those of you that don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization. So essentially, it's using search engines and the keywords to essentially tell Google or marketing platforms who you are, what you offer, and who you should be showing up in front of. So it's giving the exact terms or phrases that someone that would be your ideal customer would look up in order to find you.
Exactly. Why does SEO matter? So by incorporating relevant keywords and utilizing an SEO strategy, you are able to, one, show up in front of your ideal audience organically, but two, you're able to really be seen by these search engines as a valuable resource, and being seen as a valuable resource to these search engines or as credible to these search engines will boost you in the ranks, boost your credibility, and this strategy will also align with your target audience's needs. So as we go through it, you're thinking about what your target audience really, really needs, what they're searching up, and how they can find you. So using these keywords, using these strategies can be implemented regardless of just these search engine platforms, but also within any copy. So your email marketing, not quite a search engine, which we'll dive into, but a lot of these keywords and phrases will resonate with your audience. That's why it's strategic. So it's really important to understand this, but the biggest factor is that you can get that organic visibility, which is what we want.
So we wanted to strip it down just to 3 pillars to simplify it just a little bit so that you could grasp onto the information a little bit quicker and easier. So we stripped it down to 3, being 1, keywords. Keywords are the different words that would connect you to the searcher. So these would be phrases, and we can think of them as little buckets of topics that depend on your industry. So you want to think of those buckets and then the words that would fall under those topics. And then content being your articles, blogs, they can also be infographics, videos, images, the content that you're actually using within your socials and your website. And then actually the links as well. So if the link is just a bunch of random letters and numbers, then it's going to be a lot harder for Google or for social media to pick out who you are and what you do. So making sure that your links are credible, visible, and simple, and that they are exactly what they are saying that the person is going to when they click that link.
So thinking about keywords, we're going to break down each pillar so that you have a clear understanding of exactly what we're talking about here. So when we're thinking about keywords, this is like the big part of SEO that people always think of first is these keywords. So when we're thinking about them, there are a few things that we want to consider when selecting our keywords. And we'll go through the process of how to select them as well. But the first thing that we want to consider is relevance. So search engines rank your content based on relevance. How relevant is it to not only trending topics, what's happening, what people are really searching up, but is it relevant specifically to your target audience's needs, wants, or what they're searching? So think of relevance, relevant to the world and relevant to your specific audience. If we can combine both, then that's a lot of, that's some great visibility. We'll get there. So thinking of relevant words, what will people be searching? And this is going to help Google or help Instagram rank your content more accurately to your audience. The next thing that we want to consider is credibility. So you want to be seen as credible by Google, by social media platforms, by whatever search engine, Bing, whatever search engine there is. You want to be seen as credible. So this means you need to have not only valuable information on your site, but you need to have information that is accurate. You need to be seen as an expert, and you need to do this in order to increase your authority in the eyes of Google. And by authority, I mean, are they going to show this on the first page up against some other bigger names? And that can only happen if you are sharing consistently credible pieces and valuable pieces of content. So that's, are you getting on the Instagram Explore page? Are you getting on people's TikTok For You page? Are you showing up on Google next to Forbes, New York Times, etc. The only way to do that is to be consistently sharing credible content. We look at these pages like Forbes because they share, they're obviously well known, but they became well known because they share credible, valuable content that people look for. So think about that as you're considering these keywords. And then we also want to think about volume. And by volume, I mean the amount of people searching up particular words. So we could rank really, really high for a particular word, but if nobody's searching, there's no volume for that word, then it doesn't matter quite as much. We want to be ranking in words or with words, key phrases that people are actually searching up. It's great to be ranked number one, but if nobody is going to end up on that page, then it's not as valuable to you. So we want to look at, and you can look at some of these monthly search volume numbers with some of the resources we'll share later to help you find keywords. Sorry, my eye is crying out of one eye. So you want to consider the volume. Now, when considering this volume, too little volume, not ideal. Too much volume, also not ideal. So again, bringing up these Forbes, New York Times, that kind of thing. If what your article or your blog is going to be about, there's already an exact title for it that Forbes has done, Glamour, whatever these other bigger media publications are, that might be less than ideal. So we might want to come up with a more strategic way to frame it, or more strategic words that have a little bit less volume, but are still highly searched. There's like a perfect sweet spot we want to find, basically.
So how to find the perfect keywords for your business. So I know that this is something that a lot of people struggle with when they first come to the topic of SEO. So we wanted to give you just a quick little breakdown of what we typically tell our clients to do when they're trying to find their SEO keywords on their own. So first being is going back to that idea of those buckets. So each bucket, you want to consider a different topic underneath the industry and business that you have started and created. You also want to make a list of relevant keywords and phrases underneath those topics. So like specific topic and then like 10 keywords and phrases underneath each one. And then you have so many to pick from. So that could be anything from a blog title, a caption that you're using on Instagram or TikTok, included within your bio if you're describing your business. So you want to make sure that you're using all of these keywords and topics and you have them outlined ready for you to use within your strategy. And then you also want to consider the intent of the individual that would be searching for you. So you want to get in that psyche. We always say to know your target audience, like if they're your best friend, you want to know everything about them, where they're showing up, why they're showing up there, what they're looking for, and why they need you and what you can offer them. So by knowing all of those things, you can pick the specific keywords and topics that you want to gear towards them more and more consistently and credibly.
Next, we want to think of the content. So our second pillar. So the content, like we said, can be anything from an article, a blog, to a social media post, a video on social media, the captions, anything like that is considered content. So a few things to think about when creating your content, writing the copy, or coming up with just the concept. You want to think, again, relevance. Now, relevance here, we want it to be directly related to our audience. So not really relevant, I mean, kind of relevant to the world, it can be, but really, really thinking about your target audience and addressing their interests, their needs, their wants, and why and how it connects to your business and what you do. So it should really, really align and resonate with your target audience. It needs to be relevant to them. The next thing to consider is quality and value of your content. So this, thinking back to those keywords, similar to the credibility. With your content, you want it to be high quality. Of course, you don't want to put out low quality stuff. And we want it to be highly valuable. And what I mean by highly valuable is that your target audience looks at it and not only wants to stay engaged with it, but sees it as a resource, sees it as something that they need to come back to, that they need to look forward to your next post, that kind of thing. It needs to be of high value. When we think about putting out valuable content, we want to think about what would make me stay? What would make me stick around? What would I be looking for if I was my target audience? So this goes back to understanding them fully, their needs, their wants, their pain points, that kind of thing. When we know that, we can put out content that we know is targeting those areas and is of high value. This also is important for accuracy. So not putting out content, blog articles and things with wrong information or outdated information. This all will matter in the eyes of not only your audience, but search engines. Search engines will consider this as it kind of reads through the content. Don't know how it reads it, but it does. And it'll go through and it'll flag your content if it's not valuable or not accurate. The next thing we want to consider is being consistently updated with your content. So this means not leaving your Instagram hanging for a few weeks, not getting your website built and then you don't touch it again for 2 years. We want to consistently be updating our platforms everywhere. And this comes from consistency in your marketing strategy, consistency in your strategy in general. If you are a Forward Female member, if you've joined these workshops before, you know that every single time we will tell you consistency is key. And it really, really is. Because I'll give you the reason. If you're leaving everything dormant, Google's going to say, well, they're not active. I'm not going to send users who are looking for a nice spa day to this spa because they're not active. They might have closed up shop and just left their website hanging. So we want to be active. We want to be consistently putting out content because we want to tell them basically, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here every single day. Hey, I exist still. Tell my audience that I exist because I do and I love them and I want them to buy my product or my service. So consistency in your content is crucial. I don't know if I've said that enough.
I'll say it so we're blue in the face. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to break down are the links. So this is the third and final pillar that we discussed. So there are 2 links that you want to consider for SEO. So the first being external, which are the backlinks. This is essentially links from other sites directing users to your site. So a great way to boost your SEO is to get featured on someone else's website, whether that's a referral link or if you're featured in someone else's blog. By the way, we do member spotlights. If you want to join our membership for free, all you have to do is fill out a form, but just making sure that Google sees that other people are also referring their audience to you, boosts your credibility and therefore boosts your ranking overall. Then the next thing, and one of the more important, is internal links. So these are the URLs within your site, within your socials that you are referring people to. So like I said in the beginning, you don't want your links to just look like a jumble of letters and numbers. You want to make sure that it has very clear words with the dashes separating each word. You can see examples of that within our blog. So the best way to do that is within your blog and making sure that the titles of each blog are explicitly written out in the URL. Same with your actual pages. So you don't want each page to be page 1, page 2, page 3. You want to make sure it's like, for example, forwardfemale.com/about, forwardfemale.com/meet Priscilla. You want to make sure that the words you're using are crystal clear in that URL so that Google knows, okay, this person wants to go to this page. This is what this page has. They need this information. I can take them exactly where they need to go.
And something to consider with your internal URLs as well is going back to writing the titles for your blogs. That is a huge, huge booster in Google's SEO rankings. And so again, bringing up Forbes and New York Times, if you look up the title that you want to title your blog and those bigger name brands, businesses, publications have that same title, you might want to come up with another strategic title, which your front-facing title, by that I mean the title that will be listed whenever people go to the blog, can still be the same, but your URL, which is your SEO title, that can be different. And you want to come up with something strategic that will kind of be back in that sweet spot, that volume sweet spot that I mentioned. So where you aren't maybe going up against Forbes, but you're also not using words that nobody's looking for either. And that can be in that URL title. Oh,
This is me. Okay, so other things to consider with it within SEO. So most of these things are actually within your website. So that's why I'm going to be talking about it a little bit. First being meta tags. And I just want to preface with, if you are looking into optimizing your meta tags, and you don't really have any experience with code or development within the back end of your site, I highly, highly recommend outsourcing to someone that does, because this is very intricate. And if you don't have experience with it, it could mess up some things within the back end of your site, which inherently could hurt you rather than help you. But essentially the meta tags are descriptions within the coding in the back end of your site. So adding that code with specific keywords and phrases that we found within those topic buckets, using that within that code. But again, if you do not have experience with this, I highly recommend outsourcing. Next being image titles, which is something you can definitely do on your own. It is super, super easy. All you have to do is change the file names that you are uploading to your site. So using the image on your about page and giving it a specific title about you with specific information about your business and that topic and keyword search. And I'll show you an example of that in the next slide. And then user experience is also something that you can make sure of and manage on your own. Within your website, it's essentially making sure that your site is loading quickly, and that you have a mobile optimized site, and that the sitemap back end of your site is also very structured out very simply and works very fluidly. So that goes back into the loading, which loading speed, that could be affected by the file sizes that you're using. So if you're using a very large video and you've uploaded it to your site within the backend, I do recommend maybe uploading it to YouTube or Vimeo, and so that you're using an outsourced link, and make sure that that link is titled properly with the proper title and keywords. So then that also gives you another external link. But yeah, making sure that you have different options for your content that isn't slowing down the speed of your site. So we'll go into image titles. So this is just a quick little visual example for you within our site. So as you can see, this image highlighted in blue is the one I'm referring to. But essentially you can change, if you have a Squarespace website, you can go in and change the file name within there if you didn't do it before uploading. So that's one reason we love Squarespace, of many others. But then also you get the opportunity to add alt text, which alt text is where you want to add those phrases. So you want to use those specific keywords within the file name, and then make sure that the alt text you're using is describing the image, but also describing you and your business. The next being the mobile optimization of the site. So this is just an example of our site. The reason being is because so many people in today's age are using their phones to look at websites. They're not even touching their laptops or desktops, because they've finished work and they're like, get me away from my computer. I just want to be on my phone. So a lot of people are looking at it from their phone. So you just want to be mindful of the fact that individuals are looking at your website on your phone, and we want to make sure that the content flows naturally and simply, so that they don't feel like they have to search for something too hard. It's just right at their fingertips every single time.
okay. Now let's dive into some marketing, SEO and marketing. So it is great for your website, and really, really crucial. And within your website, it can be a marketing tool. Showing up on Google, that's marketing, baby. That's organic visibility, and we want that. But there are other places that we can also consider and target really specifically too, particularly social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. A lot of the younger generations are utilizing these platforms as search engines just as often as they're going to Google. So it's really important that we are tackling and approaching those strategically using SEO. So just like with your website copy, we can implement these keywords and some of these other strategies to these platforms. So considering that, here are a few places where SEO can be really beneficial in your social media platform. So number one is captions. That's where we all think of, that's what we all think of when we think of copy as far as social media goes. So think about your captions. They should obviously make sense, be really valuable to your audience, but you should also incorporate those keywords. And those keywords should be relevant to the particular post. So I wouldn't say creating a post and then having keywords in the caption that are totally different from what is actually in the post, because again, it should coincide and be really valuable to your audience. So it's not just an SEO play, it's thinking of it as a whole. So how are we providing quality content, valuable content, and strategically placing keywords that not only alert the algorithms, but also that stick with our audience's mind. The next thing we want to consider is in video text. So you may notice as you're scrolling through your social media feeds that people are putting titles, they're including closed captions, and those things are really, really crucial because it's not just the captions. That in video text, especially if you're adding it natively through the platform, can really help tell the algorithm what your video is about and show it to the right audiences, especially with how these algorithms are working, where my eye is crying again, I'm so sorry. But especially with how these algorithms are functioning, it is taking everything into consideration and showing it to different audiences. And if it's not landing with the initial audiences it shows your videos to, then you're not going to get pushed out any further. So you want to make sure that it aligns with your target audience. So your entire page should align with your audience and your individual posts, so that these algorithms know, oh, this post is perfect for this person, and that person is your ideal client or customer. We want that first person that sees it to be completely aligned with you and your business. The next thing to consider is your bio. On any social media platform or anywhere you have a bio, it should be SEO optimized. It is prime real estate on these platforms, and it is the place that makes the most sense to have a bunch of keywords as well. And I'll kind of show you some examples of this. So we'll look at the videos first. So I'll give you an example of TikTok. If you're unfamiliar with TikTok, we'll kind of break down what this looks like. So down at the bottom, traditional caption, notice how we have elevate your branding in 30 seconds, simplify your logo. So we're talking about branding and we're talking about your logo. Two particular things that the video is about is directly in the caption right there. Then we have, oh, here we go. Then we have a title, which not only, just side note from SEO, not only does it help SEO wise, but it also helps captivate your viewer visually and audibly. So they're reading what it's about, even if they don't hear that hook right away that keeps them, or vice versa, they're able to, in both senses, be able to understand and ingest what your video is going to be about, and then decide if they want to continue watching. So it's important to consider. But we have branding in that title, and then notice we have captions, both natively in TikTok and externally from CapCut, which is also owned by TikTok. So using CapCut is a great tool because it'll take those words natively from CapCut and use them in TikTok's algorithm. So just so you know that. Now, we know that we've done a great job, and I'm hoping this all makes sense. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But we know that we've done a good job SEO wise because we can look at this search, and instead of saying find related content, it's already put related content in the search for the viewer. So they're telling the viewer, this is about logo design. We've ranked this in any other content that we have about logo design. And that's how we know, TikTok specific, but that's how we know that we've done a good job, because we can clearly see that the algorithm has recognized exactly what we're talking about and what we're trying to convey to the viewer.
We have a question if you want to answer it, just about
Yes.
so
question.
Laurence asked, is keyword and hashtag the same in SEO or different? Example being beauty tech as keyword and hashtag beauty tech as hashtag.
I think you can think about them similarly, but hashtags might look a little bit different. It might require a little bit different research, and that research would be platform specific. So taking a look at the hashtags within Instagram, let's say, and maybe beauty tech has 1 million tags, 1 million people have tagged beauty tech, but maybe on TikTok only 500,000 people have tagged it. So then you can determine if you want to use that based on the number of people who have used it, thinking back to that volume. are we going to rank well with this competition, essentially? So you can think about it in the same way. It is a keyword. We want to look at it by volume, but it may not be the exact same keywords. It's a great place to base, the keywords are a great place to base your hashtags off of, but I would look specifically in the platforms because those are social media specific. So I hope that was helpful and answered your question. Okay, great. Let me know if it did.
She did.
Okay,
She got
perfect.
it.
Amazing. So next we want to look at your bio. This one is Instagram specific, but any bio, we want to approach it kind of the same way. So this first arrow up here is the name section on your Instagram bio. Notice how we don't have forward female in this bio because it's already our handle. So if we put forward female here, it is taking up some prime real estate. We don't want that. And a lot of times when people are searching in Instagram specifically, but when they're searching in any platform, this will come up. So they will search up business coaching. They will search up creative agency. And that's the first thing that will flag the algorithm of, oh, they're looking for business coaching. And this person says their name is business coaching. So they're going to put that as one of the top searches. So that's why we want to use up this prime real estate. Instagram recently allowed us more characters here, so we can add a little bit more than what we had previously. And it's because they've started incorporating SEO as a part of their algorithms. There's several at play, but as a part of their algorithms and how people are using the platform. So the next part of your bio to look at for SEO is the actual bio section. You'll notice how we have our mission. We help women build businesses and community. So we say what we do, but also people can find us based on those words, specifically community for this one and women. The other thing you can look at is we have all of our services listed out. So maybe somebody doesn't necessarily know that they're looking for a creative agency. Maybe they're just looking for branding. Maybe they're just looking for website design, and that's what they're typing in the search bar. We have exactly that listed out. So if somebody's looking for that service and someone to provide that for them, we will still come up. Same with marketing. If somebody's looking up marketing tips, marketing strategy, marketing help, marketing services, we have marketing listed here. And we also have the word entrepreneur because we work with small business owners, also known as entrepreneurs. So we're tagging that there as well. And then again, we have community. So if people are looking for a community to be a part of, or for more information about communities, learning about how to build a community, we will come up there as well. So we have strategically selected all of these words because this is what we do, but where we want to show up as well. So I hope that makes sense. And you can do this on any platform. So think about this setup and where you can use it anywhere. The last thing we want you to consider here is to track and analyze your data. We only make data-driven decisions, baby. That's all we do. So if you are just kind of making choices by like, this feels good, or this feels like I want to try this today, but you're not tracking it or making note of any changes you've made, you're never going to know if that strategy was successful or not. If you're making too many changes all at once, you're not going to know what is actually working. So you need to really take a look at, don't forget to mute, but you really need to take a look at exactly what you're doing. And across every platform, and tracking your analytics. We track our analytics every single Monday for us and for all of our clients. Now, there's going to be changes and fluctuations week over week, but notice you don't have to make a change if something's down one week and then up the next. Notice the patterns. You want to look at things as a whole as you're breaking them down too. So I just want to put that out there. If you have a down week, totally normal. But at the end of the day, you want to make these data-driven decisions, and just know that there's no one perfect strategy. You will need to refine, and you'll be learning as you go. And that's just how marketing can be, and how SEO can be. Everything is ever changing. And so we have to, for tracking and analyzing, we can be on the pulse and making strategic pivots, because we're tracking and analyzing all of our data. So track and analyze your data, people. That's all.
So I know that was a lot of content, but I'm hoping that that gave you just a little bit of this Ken feeling right